Hello.
Hi, guys. We're behind already. We only just started.
We're starting off behind tonight.
We are. We're starting behind.
Center us a bit. There we go.
There we are. Perfect.
Not too bad. Just make sure not to hit the table because we're on a wobbly thingy.
Yes.
Well, that's okay.
Go in here.
So hello, Deborah. Hello, Indiana Backyard Gardener. How are you guys tonight? Hello, Jane.
Hey, Jane. Trying to catch up. Everyone had to wait. What did we? Green zucchini squash.
Oh, the vine borer is washing.
We're getting caught up. You guys have had a good little chat while we have been late. There we go. So we're talking about some squash. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it looks like you guys were talking about different summer squashes and such.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to squash. Last year we didn't do so well. We did really well actually with the yellow crookneck squash.
Yeah, because we needed seeds from that one. But everything else, we were in typical Hickorycroft fashion of being very late, getting them in.
Well, and then you get too late and you can't.
Yeah, and it did not. They did not do well. They did produce fruit, but they just didn't have time to ripen. We got, hey Remy, we got what, maybe 6 squash. We got a couple butternut and a couple of the whatever the big blue ones are.
Yeah, the big blue squash.
But
I forget what they are.
Yeah, there were one that Chris's sister gave us from. She bought it at a pumpkin thing for a Halloween decoration. Mm-hmm. She gave us this really nice blue squash. It was so good.
They're big. They're a Cuba Maxima something, like a Hubbard-ish type. But we kept some seeds because it tasted really good. And ever since, it's basically bred true. So yeah, we just, I don't know where she got it from exactly, but
yeah, it's worked out. The animals love it too, and we love it. So it's one of those ones that we try and grow a lot of every year.
Well, yeah, because this year we didn't get that far, but we are hoping to grow enough to actually store some to feed the pigs. You can if you want.
I'll go get the one. I'll go get the one.
Yeah, it's like a Hubbard type squash. I have looked it up, and I think I figured out what variety it actually is. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's pretty cool. It's a pretty decent, I don't know, score. And to actually have the seeds come out where they seem to be viable as, like, breeding true is kind of nice. Everybody seems to be in a really good mood today. I think everybody must be feeling that spring is coming. It's on its way. I don't know what the temperature was. Oh yeah, there's the 2 of them. So they usually are.
That one started out blue.
Yeah, so
that's the one we were keeping for seeds.
It's turned this color in storage. But the other one, I'll pass me that one. This is the color that they usually
a bluey green
start. And sometimes they've got kind of that teardrop-y shape,
which makes us think they might be crossed.
Well, I don't know though, because anyways, regardless, they taste quite good.
They're kind of like butternut squash, but I would say a little bit fruitier tasting.
They're sweet. That was one of the things that was nice about them.
Anyways, we decided to stick with them anyways because we like them.
Yep, we showed and telled.
Yeah, show and tell, exactly. Sorry, you probably said, hey to Canada Proud, get outdoors.
No, I haven't, because the chat just kind of came up. And
that's okay. Came back. All right. Well, there you go. And hi, CJM. I was running to get the show and tell, so I didn't see you come in. But anyways, so we're hoping to get a lot more of those this year.
This is the ones that have like this shape are the ones we like.
Yeah.
We do find that they do, as you get later into the storage, they do start to change the color like that. This one's starting too, but it's not. Yeah, it hasn't got too much.
Well, these ones, yeah, we tend to keep some of them a lot longer than probably you'd eat them, but they're great for getting the seeds out at the right, So, hey, Lori. So CJM got some seeds from pumpkins last year. They're cooking ones. Yeah, Cooking ones, you mean like the little
or like seeds that you cook and eat, or delicate.
that's one of Chris's favorites.
Yeah, I do like the delicate squash. The only reason we don't do them is
they cross with something.
They cross with the yellow crooked neck.
Yeah,
and the zucchinis, but they're very nice. Pretty easy to grow. Quite prolific.
What's the other one that you like? A red curry.
Yeah,
red curry squash
was another one Hubbard type one that's quite nice.
Chris really likes.
The only problem I find with the red curry is they're a little less versatile. Like I don't know how to describe it. They've got a stronger flavor, like kind of their own distinct flavor, which is really, really good for soups and stuff. But then they're harder. I kind of always found them a little harder to use to just
Chicken Johnny
cook.
Yeah, well, you had to use them in specific recipes.
Yeah, which those recipes were
really good. Yes, but, the red curry. Yeah,
the red curry one.
So that one we even still have seeds. We haven't grown that one.
And
the seeds would be what, 4 years old?
No, they're not that old.
Maybe only 3 years old. I think. Well, we've been here for 2 years.
We didn't grow last year, but I think it was from the year before.
Oh, maybe. Anyways, we still have some red curry ones because we're trying to figure out
if we can do multiple.
If we can figure out staggering them by year, or if we put some squash at the front of our property and some way at the back of our property by the train tracks, they're far enough apart that there's no chance of them crossing.
We could have 8 times.
So we're trying to figure out if we took some manure back with the tractor and made some piles this year, then next year we'd be able to just plant seeds in those piles. We have tried the manure, kind of putting it out there and going straight into it, but if it's a dry year, it doesn't seem to work as well. So we're hoping if we get it back there and let it sit for a year, they'll be nicely composted piles, and fingers crossed, we'll be able to grow 2 of each kind, which would be quite nice.
Kind of nice.
We just don't like hand pollinating. You can grow more and do all the hand pollinating, but we don't. But it
seems to be more the type, because like the Cubra Peppo varieties, they don't hand pollinate too badly, but like the Maxima ones, they do, like cucumbers where they abort, or at least they've kind of always done that for us. I did look into that, and some, because they're all different species, some of them are more prone to aborting and that sort of thing.
Yes. Squash is something until Chris and I got together, I'd never eaten squash.
But squash is one of those vegetables. The squash was the vegetable, and all squash was the vegetable that my mom used to grow them a lot. And then when I went to college,
hi Terry B. Hi Chad.
You'd want to go and buy some, and they're expensive, and I know why.
Well,
it's handling and stuff.
Yeah,
but they're so easy to grow because you basically plant them, leave them alone, and
but we've had that. Well, as I was just saying, we just pile manure in places, and that's where we plant squash for the next year, and we just leave it alone. I mean, like we've done that where you don't even water it. We put in so many seeds, it's survival of the fittest, and we always get tons of squash. So
they just like a lot of food.
And Terry B, welcome from Kawartha Lakes. Yay, another Ontarian.
Oh, that's not very far from us.
Not too far. Well, we always say we're neighbors in the internet world, which is kind of cool. Yes, CJM, thank you. Hit thumbs up, people.
The hand pollinating for the squash actually isn't too bad, but you have to go out in the evening, and you have to find the male and the female flowers, and you want to pick ideally you want to get a couple, I don't know, like 2 male flowers to every female flower you can find. And you take what I always did was, it's like hockey tape.
And
you tape the flower shut. So because they haven't opened yet in the at night. So you basically tape the flower shut so that in the morning it can't open. And then we just go out and you pick the male flowers, and then you carefully open up the female flower.
Hey, Joe and Sue.
And do the
Sue or Joe.
The pollinating, and then you close it back up. So the squash aren't too bad. It's just we found, like I say, that the varieties like the Cuba Maxima ones, the Hubbards, and some of the pumpkins and that, they just didn't hand pollinate. Like they just aborted. It
was just more work than it seemed time consuming.
You didn't get any seeds out of it.
Sorry, I'm going back to Remy's there. So what is your last frost date, Remy? He said he's got 2 months before he can do seeds. I'm not sure what zone are you in? Being in the Maritimes, you'd be what?
It might be
a 4. maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Exactly. This is going back to the buying the squash and I'm that way about sweet potatoes too, because it seems like it's going to be a deal, and then you go and you buy 2, and you're just like, holy cow! But hopefully this year we'll have lots of sweet potatoes, and that won't be an issue.
The flowers are quite good, actually. We've done them. I've tried different species, but yeah, the zucchinis and the summer squashes and stuff, they're the best ones.
Yes,
by far. We've done like butternut, and we've done some of the Maxima ones, and they're okay, but they don't taste quite as good as the Cuba Peppo ones.
Yeah. Speaking of flowers, I'm excited for all the lilies and stuff that are going to be coming soon.
Yeah,
we like the harvesting, the foraging, harvesting, whatever you want to call all the daylilies and hostas and stuff for spring fresh eating. So not too long. I know Lori's probably laughing over there as she's been well above 0 for quite some time, but we were 8 degrees today. It was so exciting. And it's supposed to be 13 tomorrow. That's Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Hello, Recycled Homestead. I think we're catching up.
Yes. So what was the? Sorry, go back. So Remy is zone 4B.
Okay. Yeah. So he's colder than us.
And what was the one right above it? Sorry, you're tons of.
If it's been there a year and it's been in a pile, it's probably good. It might not hurt to turn it. Like you could probably even turn it now.
As it melts in the spring, that's what we always kind of did, was turn it and then leave it, and we never added any more. Once the spring started, we never added to the pile. So basically it would get manure put into the pile with shavings or anything else until beginning of March time-ish, and then we would just leave it, and as soon as you could get in there to dig, we would turn it over, and then we'd leave it alone. And then you kind of would, if it's a dry spring, you'd give it a good soaking when you put your seeds in, but then that was all we really did. Yay, spring indeed, Terry. Oh gosh, today the snow dropped. It had to have dropped 6 inches out there at least. I mean, it was a beautiful thing.
It went down quite a bit.
I mean, unfortunately now there's mud on all the paths, but I'll take mud if it means the snow's going to leave.
Mud for a little while is okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, definitely starting to notice prices going up.
Yeah, we went grocery shopping. Was it on Friday or Thursday?
Or was it the weekend? I don't remember.
No, because
there's still some things we don't produce.
Yeah, well, and now with having to buy dairy, that's the one thing. And we search for butter to be at a reasonable price because I'm a butteraholic. And yeah, it's there definitely is stuff going up. That's for sure. Produce we notice. I mean, produce is just crazy priced, really. But it's spring, and that's, I guess, when they can't get stuff until summer comes. But
your daffodils are still coming up. We're starting to come up. We're a little ways away from that.
Yeah, ours are still under like 8 to 10 inches of snow. Yeah. We're less than a foot of snow now, though, except for where it's piled. So that's not so bad.
Well, that's nice to have a grow tent to get some stuff going. Because we're not much different, right? Like we can put out maybe some of the really hardy stuff before that.
Is what they say, and even then you run the chance.
Well, and that's for the tender stuff like tomatoes and squashes and stuff. But even like dry beans and green beans later, that's like beginning of beginning of June before we really should be putting them out.
Yeah. I missed something. What if Terry's ducks loved? I missed something. Scroll up. We missed something. Or maybe she's meaning they love spring. Yes, the puddles. Our geese were out in the puddles, and the puddles are so, I mean, we're a farm, there's manure and stuff, and the puddles are like this horrible brown, orange, gross, and some
of it's them making it muddy.
Yeah, they're making it muddy too, but the geese are just like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. We have a puddle. Oh, well, but
yeah.
And the robins, we had robins here today as well, Deborah.
We've had one that's been here kind of all winter, but it was starting to sing.
Oh gosh, she said Montana got more snow. They're higher elevation though, right? Which would influence a little bit of that.
Well, it depends because some of that would be the mountains.
Yeah.
Too, right?
But
yeah, Toronto's kind of
cliffside. Wait, we watched your video almost made us late. Almost. We were watching your video as we were finishing dinner, and then we went, oh boy, it's like 16 minutes, or what was it? Or was it 21 minutes? And we're like, oh boy. And then, yeah, we were like, we got to finish it. So we made it. We made it to our live, and we made a comment on your video. So we're good.
Yes, but you definitely got us thinking.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. You were working so hard in that video. I mean, anybody in here, if you don't follow Cliffside, you need to follow her. She is such a hard worker, and she's doing such an awesome job with the permaculture. Well, she could put her own link.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, you definitely need to follow her. We're hoping to get some great tips and ideas from her on our food forest, because our food forest is an old sand pit, and we're developing that, and it's got the really steep sides and whatnot, and she does all her gardening. I'm going to totally butcher this, and I do apologize, but permaculture style gardening along the cliff with terraces and everything, and it's awesome. And it's given us a lot of great ideas. So we're so excited for the snow to finally be gone. I've been collecting tires. You'll be really proud that we've got so many tires in this yard. So we've got lots of goodies for getting that going. Anyways, I went on a rant there.
Yeah, saying about Toronto. Toronto's always a bit ahead of us.
Yeah.
Always a bit more moderate.
Oh, hi, Bettina. Sorry, I didn't see. Or did you already say hi to Bettina?
No, I haven't yet.
You guys got 10 today. That's a little higher than us.
What were we today?
We were 8.
Yeah, it's pretty darn close.
Hi, Charles.
Pretty darn close.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The crazy thing is, was it not last night, the night before, that we were minus 20?
Yeah.
Like 30-degree difference in less than 48-hour period. That was just.
I say it all the time. Like, you can watch the Discovery Channel and learn of really what do you call it, harsh conditions places, but they stay cold, they stay hot, they a 30-degree temperature. It was 30-degree temperature change in 24 to 48 hours. That's crazy. Yeah,
it was, and everything's got to be so hardy to be able to handle that. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah, that's where we're like with sheep. They're awesome. They just don't mind it being outside.
I saw she hadn't put up a link, so I'm gonna do it quickly. I'm getting there.
Yeah, I don't know. We're starting to kind of get into that phase of spring's actually coming. And what's the big thing I was talking to you about today was trying to come up with a list, because our problem is if we come up with a list for like the year, be like, oh, here's what we want to do for the year, like it just doesn't work because we've got too many things on the go. So it's better to do like a portion of the year.
You beat me. She beat me.
But yeah, for us, it's better to do like a list of what we want to accomplish in a portion of the year. So we're going to see about sitting down and coming up with a list of what do we need to do before sort of the end of April, because it's all going to move really quick, and we still got some stuff to finish up on and some stuff we'd like to do before spring, and then there's a few items that have to be done.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. We were looking at some trees that need to be chopped and cut down before we can get going with fencing, and definitely sorting out. We went back today and we looked at the apple trees. Anybody that's kind of followed our story from before, we have close to 300 apple trees that are just wild apples on the property, and we had the best of intentions of pruning some of those this year. But I think it's going to end up going on the back burner. They still produce apples. I mean, we've juiced. We've done.
You're still here, Remy. Thank you for stopping in. No problem at all.
Yeah.
We'll catch you later.
Sorry.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's okay. I lost my train of thought. Oh, the apples. Yeah, we best of intentions of getting out there and pruning those for this year. And I think it's not going to be a priority compared to getting the tree lines cleared for the fencing and that sort of stuff for the animals. But we'll see if we can get a couple. We've got a few in the food forest area that might be able to get done.
Or pasture one.
Yeah. But
pasture one might not be too bad either, but we can actually get in there and get at them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, that's one thing about the temperature extremes. Like you do have to have really hardy animals.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For them to kind of live in it and not perish.
Well, yeah, or adaptable ones at least. Like, I mean, that's one thing we found. Our rabbits have fared really, really well, but we used to breed our rabbits in.
Or try to.
Or try to breed them kind of starting in February. And now we don't do any rabbit breeding until March because it's just too risky. Our rabbits are kept outside 24/7 in their hutches and whatnot. And it's too risky trying to have babies in March because March just seems to get crazier and crazier every year. So
you go from whatever temperature to whatever temperature in a short time.
That's not worth the risk, but
it would be. We were actually, after watching Cliffside's video, we were talking about a wood chipper, and it's like it would be really nice because then we could chip a lot of our own wood chips to do some of our gardening and stuff. But they are.
And we looked into some of the, looking at more the $600-700 price ones, and the reviews on them were just garbage. And we just said, oh, it'll be just our luck. You buy that, and it's not worth the toss. So I think either that or we got to just do it in piles and rent one at some point. But it's working pretty good so far doing I'm going to butcher this name as well, the Hickorycroft things, where we just toss all the brush in a pile and then just pile over top of it with manure and everything else. And eventually that area is going to become a nice grow area.
It does work well because we did that. We've done that even in our raised beds, and it does work.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So
actually, we used the Hickorycroft sort of idea. What do we take? They were some boards and stuff that the previous people had left, and they're way too rotten to do anything with.
Oh yeah, so they were like old cedar rails and things.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them, but like you couldn't even make a border out of them. So we piled them together, like for a raised bed or whatever. So we piled them together, and then we started piling the bedding and manure on top of that, and it's worked excellent for feeding the chickens in the summertime because. You kind of get a decent pile, and then they come and
work it all and get it into all the crevices,
and then you kind of go back and pile it. Like it's, I don't know, it's working pretty well.
It is.
And the amount of food that they find in it, and then it reduces your some of the insects. Yeah. They're getting the good ones too, but they're getting the bad ones.
Eventually, it'll be a nice kind of mound.
It gives them something to focus on, so that they avoid some of
the garden, the areas that you don't want the chickens in.
I would love to have the chip drop type thing here, but
you had a gorgeous pile of wood chips in that video. We were definitely jealous.
What we could do with the pile.
Yes, we were plotting and going, oh, wouldn't that be nice? But but great idea on the digging out the paths to preserve that dirt to use in the gardens. And then like Chris was saying, once you pile the wood chips in there, eventually that rots down to be all nice dirt again. So great method.
We find some of the older apple trees don't fruit well every year, so every second year's isn't terrible actually. I don't know whether it's just their age, the varieties, the both.
Well, our dilemma is all of them are just so overgrown. They're all 25 feet tall. So all the fruit we've got the little things on the sticks that doesn't work worth it, darn. So you end up shaking the tree to knock them off, or
it does work.
It does, but not. Most of them are still higher than those, and then it ends up that the fruit is wasted up there. So that's I'd like to at least get some of them where we cut out the tops, because then at least they're not putting effort into putting fruit up there. If that's all we get this year, that would still be awesome to get the tops cut out of a few.
We'll see where we get to this weekend.
I know. But, blackberries,
blackcurrants. We've got lots of blackberries here. Well, we didn't on our old property, but we have a lot of them here, which is awesome. But I'd like to get some black currants. I know they're not your favorite, but
I think you wanted the white currants.
I would like the white ones too.
You'd like all currants.
The red ones even. I don't care. All of them. But that'd definitely be something I think we'd put in the food for us. What we do have to do actually is make an order. We should do this after our live because we meant to do it yesterday and we didn't.
The fruit trees.
We're going to order some peach trees. What's the peach tree?
Harrow Beauty, something.
I think it is.
Anyways,
it's supposed to be a decent one for our area.
Yeah.
And then we're thinking of a couple of plums because you want the
early golden. I want 2 early golden plum trees.
And we're going to get some pears.
2 pear trees.
Because we don't have any pears here.
Yeah.
2 or 3. We'll see what he comes back with.
Yeah. We kind of are holding off on the cherries and purchasing any cherry trees this year because we bought all the Romeo and what's the other one? Valentine. We bought 18 of those, which are the dwarf cherry bushes. Lost a few last year, but we're going to wait and see what they're doing before purchasing anything else for cherries, because if all of them are okay, we're going to have a lot of cherries eventually. I think the only other thing that's really on the agenda would be the Saskatoons.
Well,
and your elderberries.
Yeah, I do want to get. We were supposed to get elderberries, and the order got canceled, but that's all right. If it doesn't happen this year, because we actually, I would have tried to clone some, but we don't have any black elderberry on the property. We have the red elderberry, but which we still like. But
that's exactly what I'm thinking when we get going on the apple trees and stuff. Is just make a big pile, rent a chipper, and just chip it all in a weekend. For the three and basically, then you're not maintaining that thing. You're not having to fix it. You're not having to whatever. We just have to get organized and have it that it's worth getting it. So, and I think they have to be somewhat dead, don't they? Isn't it better for them to be dead?
Oh, I don't think you want them super green.
Yeah.
But I also don't want them like rock hard either, I don't think. But that's another thing I would love to get this year. I don't know if it's in the cards because I don't know if it's the wine caps, because I would like to get some
mycelium or whatever to get them started.
Well, that sounds like a nice, relatively easy thing to mycelium.
Yeah,
a nice, easy type to get into to start. Something we could propagate a bit too, which is I always like that. Things that you can propagate yourself.
Buffalo blackcurrants.
I have to look into that. I wonder if they would grow here.
Might have to look into that one. I bet you they'll be tricky to get here.
Red Haven. Red Haven's is it a peach? Because that sounds familiar too. The place we're getting from, they only have the Harrow Beauty, but that's okay because I'm looking for.
Sorry, I'm going up. Just what was
Hello, Silhouette Park Farm.
Hi, Silhouette Park. Oh, you keep going up. Instructions. I want to see the bottom of my property. Yeah, we've got the same thing. Tons and tons of the raspberries and red raspberries, black raspberries, and blackberries. We need to thin out. The sumacs have kind of taken over where the red raspberries are, and we want to get back there and thin those out so that they get a bit more sun.
Well, these trees are coming from a place near Cornwall.
Not coming. You have to go get them.
Yeah, you have to go get them. So
it's every year this gentleman does a Kijiji ad. So we just waited and waited.
It's close enough for us to drive to get them.
Previously it's always been $25 a tree, but this year it's up to $30.
But there is a couple of I can't think of the names of them off the top of my head, but there is a couple of places closer to you
that have some good ones.
That have some really good ones that I've looked into. I just can't think of what they're called off the top of my head. But if you've got your email on your
about
page, then you may have to give me a bit to figure them out again, but I can send the links. I don't know. They're probably sold out this year, but you never know.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. We've been finding a lot are sold out, but this guy, because you got to go get them, I assume that's probably why it's still
we're going to order them so that we get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, CJM. Have a good night. We shall talk to you later on. Thank you for coming in.
I think you were meaning more the chipping, right? Because if we prune them.
Oh, yeah. With the chipping, if they needed to be kind of dead, yeah. But the pruning, we got to get that before they bud.
The only thing about using the apple pruning is you got to watch where you put it, right? Because
that's true. You got the whatever.
Yeah. But oh boy, I'm getting behind again.
Okay,
I apologize, everyone.
We'll read quickly here.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Sometimes it's like any rental equipment, though, right? Yeah, the black elderberry is the one everybody thinks about, but this is the biologist in me. The red is actually more common in our area. If you go further north, the black is a bit more common. It's not that you can't find it, but it's not as abundant. And a lot of that, I think, just has to do with, land changes over time. And anyways.
Canadian Proud's one there. Another one to look for for colder climate, Saskatoons. We are really trying to grow our Saskatoon. What do you call it? It's not a forest, a patch. There you go. But Saskatoons, I'm from Manitoba, so that's why we're in my head.
We actually took a look at some of our Saskatoons, and they look like
they got buds. They're doing well.
Good,
yeah. So yes, Red Haven peach. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a peach.
Cliffside's going to save you some seeds. Awesome. Yes, please. Chris will love that.
Clove currant. I think I have heard of clove currant before. Interesting. I'm going to look them up again because they do sound familiar. I just don't think we have them. I forget the current gooseberry family. I don't see a lot of them enough. Like you go out in the wild here and you kind of have like one species in a given area. So I'm not always, yeah.
That would be awesome, Bettina, if you could pick them up. I mean, I get so jealous watching all these people getting all their wood chips from this. Maybe if you're in the city, maybe it is different. I know out here you can't get them.
I think the city of Kingston, which is close-ish to us, I think you can get them that way. But when you're in a rural area, it's harder. But yes, definitely you should. If you can get some of them, that would be awesome because you can do so much with them.
You have a chipper.
I have a chipper in there for hire.
Yes, but we established you're pretty far. But, well, not in the grand scheme of things in the internet world, but for borrowing a chipper and hiring you. I'm going to do that right now for Charles. Yep. I will send you on Facebook. I will send you the link for the Kijiji fruit trees.
Yeah, Kijiji's worth checking out. It's a bit hit and miss, but they do have it's under, I think it's under buy and sell, and then you go to, oh boy, they have one that's actually just for plants, but it's like hidden way down in the buy and sell category, so it's a little hard to find. But you can find some interesting stuff from time to time.
Mm-hmm. So I will, yeah.
The one thing I will say about the red versus the black elderberries, the red.
Night, Terry. Thank you very much for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
It was great to see a fellow Ontarian.
The red is more prevalent. I tend to find like you find it in more places, but when you find a patch of the blacks, there's a lot of it. So it's kind of one of those hit and miss things, which is kind of interesting. But I think the blacks, I think they do get spread around a bit more by some of the berry eating birds than maybe the reds a little bit. Plus, they're more prolific usually.
Hey, come on.
Keep trying to leave. We'll stop talking for a few minutes to let you go.
No, that's not how we work. No.
Yeah, we don't tend to...
Stop talking? Doesn't happen. Okay, so there's that.
Yeah, here it just depends on where you are. A lot of things are that way. So is the chip drop something like, is it a website you go to and they coordinate things? Or I guess we've never really looked into it because I've talked to some people that have, like I say, that they've lived in town and they've talked to local arborists, or even the municipalities will sometimes, they do tree removals and stuff too. They're just looking for places to get rid of it, so they get it that way. But we'll have to.
See, they're Joe and Sue are also saying they don't know what chip drop is, so I'm guessing it's not.
We'll check it out and see if we can find whether there is anything in our area. Because if there is, that would be awesome. Oh, there's the link there.
Yeah, chip drop.
Okay. Just open that up and then we'll.
Okay. Whoa! One thing at a time.
Demanding.
Whoa! One thing at a time.
This is good though. We're learning stuff too.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully that works. Let me see here.
Yeah, today was the first day. This sounds funny, pending your area, but I kind of judge a lot of things. It's like the Canada geese. We've always got Canada geese, but we're right around our house. They don't start coming inland from the St. Lawrence until you kind of get into that springtime when they are starting to check out stuff. So we're close enough to the St. Lawrence, they'll fly over and go kind of do the circle of the wetlands in the back part of the property. And then if it's not open, they go back. And they've only started doing that like 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. So they're, I don't know. Here, they're a pretty good gauge. Some places where they kind of are there all the time, maybe not, but.
Okay, this will take a little bit of work. So we'll look into the chip drop after, but I've got it up. So.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, glad everybody comes in.
Exactly.
Anybody who comes in. We just keep talking. So anything anybody wants to talk about, we're pretty much game for. Yeah, that's kind of my thing about, I thought, like, if you caught word of it from somewhere, you could sometimes get them dropped off. I know Hydro will do it if they're in the area doing something, but it's sometimes hard to coordinate with them because they don't. Yeah, they'll phone you up like last minute, or sometimes they won't, or they'll say they will and they don't come, or sometimes they'll come with 2 or 3 loads. So it's really, really hit and miss. But that's something we could look into too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be curious as to whether the drop, like what Drops is saying about the middle of nowhere, maybe it is that is it just you sign up and it'll just show up at any time, or I'm not sure how it works. So it says I have to set up an account. So
I'll
look into it and see if it is available in Canada, because
yep. The joys of living in Ontario around the Great Lakes. Actually, I shouldn't say Ontario, because I know the same thing happens on the U.S. side of the Great Lakes too. The Great Lakes are weird.
Yeah.
They do weird things with weather.
Like, where else can you have 30-degree change night to day? Anyway. Yeah. And then we're supposed to drop back off again we're supposed to be 2 or 3 days of nice, and then it's supposed to drop back off again, I believe. So,
yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. It's, we learn all sorts of stuff, and I don't know. Hopefully we have things that other people find interesting and learn some stuff too. But yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, getting this sort of community set up where you can just chat and talk, and it's like we always say about exchanging plants, exchanging seeds, all that sort of thing. Like that's all stuff that once you get your community established, you just do it. I mean, like there's seed swaps and things like that too. But it's, we always talk about that, how things used to be in the old days. The old days. But, like where people depended on their neighbors. Like now, our neighbors are not really social, and we don't really talk to them. We're just kind of our own little bubble. I mean, we do talk to them, but nobody does the same things. It's us. Maybe we're crazy. They probably think we're crazy. Oh my gosh, it's skipping. I missed a whole bunch. I do apologize if we've missed anything. You've been keeping track?
I'm trying.
You're trying? Okay.
Hello, Green Thumb Pepper.
Hey there. And Tiffany Q. Yes. Because I didn't see you until just now. I have a suggestion for your treetops. Check.
Yeah.
For service for free. Perhaps someone nearby who has a chipper. That might work.
There probably is somebody around us that does, but just figuring out. We kind of live in an area where there's, a few farmers, but not.
Okay, and CJM says there's always people looking for us. So we just got to get better at networking.
Yeah, we're not good networkers.
No, we're not super great at the
when it comes to anything, we're not good. We're not good networkers.
No. Oh.
But yeah, this is definitely some really good food for thought for us to look into, because we definitely want a lot of wood chips. I can think of a few applications where I would love to.
We did most of around our raised garden kind of area, all the pathways and stuff, but it needs more. So
I'm always I'll be honest, like we have the tractor. I don't know, we haven't really featured it in any videos in the last little bit, but if you go back when we were trying to do fencing last year, when we bought the property, they had a tractor here. It's a Massey 135, and it looked in decent shape, etc. So we basically said, like, they were moving in town, so would you sell the house with the tractor? And they agreed, and we ran it for a bit. We actually were really glad we had it when we moved, because we were able to put up a bit of fencing. But then in the spring, when we were hoping to use it, there was some issues, and we did get them fixed. But machinery is not always as dependable as you would like it, and sometimes it feels like it's harder to maintain than the animals. But some of the animals, there's very clear expectations. Where with the tractor and being able to do multiple things, it's
Sorry, I'm going to go back quickly. I'm just going back to what Tiffany had said there. So, is it the Buy Nothing project? Is that what I'm looking up? Sorry, and hopefully she'll answer that. I'm trying to find this Buy Nothing thing she's talking about. so that I've got this Buy Nothing project up. I'm just not sure if that's the same thing. Global network of community-based groups. I'm guessing it is.
It is always fun to talk about the old days.
Yes. Yeah. We joke about getting the cows to pull things out of the bush and using the horses for that, or maybe getting horses for that. But yeah. I'm going to try to start Homesteaders of Canada. I missed something.
No. HOC. I'll let you read that. I'm gonna keep up with the chat. I'll try to keep up with it. That's really interesting that you were a professional arborist for 3 years. I'm a professional biologist, so there's definitely a little bit of overlap there, but be very specific about what you want. And that makes perfect sense. The one thing is, if it's coming relatively local, we're already in an area with like the emerald ash borer, for example. It's here. So if they were getting rid of stuff like that, that's not too big of a deal. But for us, just depends. We don't want spruce boughs.
Okay, so she is talking about that Buy Nothing. Okay. Buy Nothing project. Okay. So
I'm going to look
into that later.
For us to check out.
Oh gosh, yes. I've got so many windows open on the other computer of things we need to check out after.
Going back to Cliffside's comment up at the beginning there, we are technically multitasking because we've got 2 computers open. One for the live, and one to open up all the windows of things we want to check out later.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
So funny.
Okay, so there is a Buy Nothing group again. Cool.
Very cool.
All right. Thank you for that tip. That is awesome. I'm going to definitely look at that a bit more.
The wood chips would definitely help with that.
I'm gonna join the group
with your yard, for sure. I don't know.
Gosh,
I have a not love-hate, but it's like lawns. Like, we were actually standing out by the front of the barn today, and we were talking about the sheep, which then led to talking about the pigs, which then led to talking about pasture and grass and everything else. And we do have a lawnmower and we do mow some areas, but at the same time, we're usually looking at, like, how can we get an animal to eat it?
Yeah. We cut our grass twice last year. And that was only like just the front lawn.
Well,
everything else was
not including the
brush hogging, for the back.
Because we did have to do that too, but that's a little different. I would say the closest thing that Saskatoons taste to is blueberries, but they're not identical, but they're very good. And I don't have a lot of experience growing them in the grand scheme of things because we've only had them for a couple of years, but they seem pretty easy once you get them established, and eventually they do seem to spread if you've got an area that they can spread into. Especially when you look at the wild ones in Manitoba, they kind of become little thickets, which is awesome. It's like a perfect, perfect.
Were we talking about Saskatoons?
Yep.
Sorry,
you can speak to that better.
I've gotten distracted by this Buy Nothing group. So sorry, what was the question on Saskatoons?
Are they easy to grow?
Oh, I think that like you just said, getting them established seems to be the thing. Once they get going, the birds spread them like crazy. I mean, at my parents, they were growing out into the pasture. They were like those horrible ones that you kept having to brush hog because they would just keep spreading and spreading, kind of similar to sumac. But we've, at this point, been buying them and adding. I mean, I think we've bought, 20 so far?
Something like that. That's
just mostly because we're impatient. I mean, we've eaten berries off of them. And they've only been years.
That's a good point, though, because we were talking about this even with the sweet potato stuff, because we're looking at getting slips for a different variety. And it's always a numbers game, right? Because it's like berry bushes. You need X number of berry bushes to produce you X number of berries to this, that, and whatever. So it's like we just keep, whenever we find Saskatoons of any variety, we're not too picky because they're not as derived as some other things. We pick them up and add them to the batch, and we've got most of them at pretty good price.
Hey, Hitch a Chick. Sorry, I'm not sure if you already said hi. I was just
No,
waiting.
I haven't. I'm catching
You're
up.
never late because we just keep going and keep talking. So you can arrive at any time with our chats, and
Pretty
it
much.
always works.
Yep.
Deborah, I remember the party line. My best friend lived across the road from us, and we were on the same party line, and we'd have to like dial each other's number and then hang up, and then the phone would ring weird so that you knew. So we always knew we were calling each other, and it was great fun because my dad would always pick it up and make jokes and pretend she wasn't calling the right place and things like that. But oh yes, party line. And now nobody even has a phone.
Oh,
Sorry.
where were we? We were in a thrift store the other day.
Oh yeah, they had a
the kids saw a phone, like an old style phone, and they're like, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh,
that's a phone."
So there you go for old time whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing I was concerned about with our Saskatoons. I was hoping the meadow voles hadn't got into
but
them,
didn't look like they had.
have.
But then we had so much snow this year that they were completely buried. So
well, that's when the meadow voles get them, right? Because then they go underneath the snow. But
oh, CJM, maybe you're close enough that you can come and prune some here. We have to have somebody come in. We have Manitoba maples that are just a menace. Anyways, that's another project that we're not tackling. We're going to have somebody come in.
They're kind of in an area where I can drop trees, but
not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bettina's got some too. We're good. There'll be lots. What do we got here?
Not a lot of people do. We kind of debated about it here, but then between my work phone that I have and your cell phone and your cell phone, we kind of just went with the one cell phone plan, and
yeah,
it works out not bad.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, we kind of thought about maybe we should have one just because, but we always are, well, especially with the lockdown, we're always home and just two cell phones sitting in the house, so it doesn't seem to be too bad. But
I never answer mine unless
you don't.
During work hours.
Yes, Tiffany has got me into this buy nothing thing now. Look out.
We started a whole new
this is
thing.
all going to be so much fun. It's I've always wanted to find a barter thing, like a trade thing. So this is awesome. How did I not know about this? Because we have a lot of valuable things to barter.
Yeah.
We do.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Bartering's good though. Some ways I wish that there was more of that.
Yeah.
I've got a hope. Well, this is a livestock thing, but I think sometimes by not having that mindset, that it ends up ruining breeds because people don't keep up with it. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, Cliffside, what you're saying there about the Saskatoons is exactly what they will eventually do. That's why we put them. Actually, we put them right along the cliff. So on the thingy. So basically, we're going to keep the path between the fence and the Saskatoons for us to walk down. And if they kind of seed over the cliff and go down, if they take root, that's great. I'll send the kids to climb it, or I'll figure out making some paths to climb it because it's pretty steep. I don't know if we ever
really showed the Saskatoon patches in any of our videos. Once everything kind of melts, we'll show where they are because we've put them in kind of two little pockets, and I don't know, from what I've seen where they're actually growing in the wild, like they're like prime spots for Saskatoon bushes. So
yeah, they get good sun. They've got good drainage because it's sandy.
Yeah,
and that's the one thing about my parents. Like the Saskatoons would be right on the rocks and the drainage. They'd be in all the hedgerows and everything like that. So it didn't matter if they had the overhead trees, really. Mm-hmm. So
it's funny, totally not related to the arborist part of it, but we have a branch of a Manitoba maple that I broke off from a tree that we'd cut down last winter, and we stuck it in a pot to keep the light that we had on our stevia that we put in one part of the house, which you have to move, and it sprouted.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see if it's got roots because it's been living for like 2 months.
Yeah, it's got a whole treetop in our bathroom of Manitoba maple from this silly branch that we used as to hold up a thing.
So hypothetically, if I could find some black elderberry, I should be good to go if I could sprout a half-dead Manitoba maple.
My son. Oh, about the that used to be my favorite part about going to my grandparents. They had an amazing vinyl collection. That was the other thing
that James saw, and he knew what it was, which was actually impressive. He saw a record player, and he was like, "Ooh, it's not bad for his age. It's not like
he's
that's 9, a common thing."
Hey, Free Handley Maid, how you doing?
Hello, Garden State Gardener.
Yes, CJM, the barter system. I'm motivated towards that. I mean, we're preppers, but not like intense preppers, and I think it's always nice to find places where if things change you can find other people that have things that are willing to trade. So I think it's great. Tiffany has started a big obsession here, I think. Yeah. Hi Jules, how you doing? Same thing I say, never apologize for being late. We just keep going, and people can arrive at any time.
We're a little bit slow to keep up with the chat. Yeah, we try.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying.
This is kind of what I was saying about the black elderberry. Like I say, depending where you are, it's abundant, but there's some areas where stuff's just been kind of blitzed. Even here, Ontario has an interesting history, especially Eastern Ontario. I'm not going to go into it right now, but you would probably find it interesting because there's when you get into the natural stuff, the history starts to make sense why certain things are in certain places and not in other places. And anyways, it's quite fascinating. There's a name for that, but
we will definitely make sure we check on the wording there, Tiffany. Thank you for that tip. That's like when I watch old. I'm gonna really date myself or whatever here, but I go back to like Beverly Hills 90210 or something like that, and you watch them, and they've got these like cell phones that they pull out this long antenna and whatever, and it's just like, oh my gosh. But we never had those. I mean, it was not.
I used to have an old flip phone from work that was like.
Oh, that's not the same as the big blocky antenna thing that you pull out, and it's like, yeah, definitely, yeah. Hey, Garden State Gardener, how you doing? I'm not sure how far behind we are, whether you've been here a while, but I think we're good.
I'm doing all right.
Thanks, Joan Sue. Yes, definitely. Thumbs up, people. Love it. Where the world is going, I think. Yeah, I think so. Bartering is definitely going. There used to be a really big barter website in Ontario, and that would have been 10 years ago. It was a big thing, maybe even more than that now. And then it sort of disappeared. So I'm hoping to find something similar to that again. I do like this buy nothing. And sometimes it's nice when your community, it's like if you've got extra plants, extra seeds, whatever, it's no big deal to give them away. But sometimes it's nice to have a barter type thing as well. So I'd like to kind of, look into that a little bit further and see what I can find out.
No, that's... Sounds like everybody's doing pretty good tonight, which is awesome. For everybody that kind of came in, I guess one of the things we talked about it once, but one of the things that's kind of on our to-do list is to come up with a to-do list between now and sort of the end of April of all the stuff that we would like to / need to get done, because it works better for us to work in small chunks of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you kind of reprioritize. If you didn't get it done and you can live without it done, then you just bump it off to later. Because I think it's going to get this is the problem with spring. Spring is always so
exciting. Comes fast, and then it's summer really fast here.
Yeah, it usually goes.
It just seems like it takes forever, and then next thing you know, it's like, we're too late.
It's too late to plant squash.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to Cliffside's one there. Just to go down a little bit of a history thingy here is I'm a big history person in genealogy. I studied my family's genealogy. And just to give you a little whatever, we were United Empire Loyalists. We came from Connecticut to maybe 20 minutes from here, Blue Church? 30 minutes from where we live now, and settled here. But that was, I think it was, I want to say 1685. She's saying 1700s. that had family in this area since the 1700s. But my family has a museum in Woodbury, Connecticut. So
someday.
I do want to get there one day before the museum is gone. I want to get there, but I have bought books and stuff from it. But anyways, I was just going back to that because I think it's kind of cool to talk that sometimes. And that's a little bit of a side of my interest that has gone on the back burner a lot, the studying the family history and stuff like that. Because it's very time consuming. And, I spent a lot of time going around to cemeteries and things like that and museums and stuff. So it's kind of cool. But yeah. See, she thought it was cool. Yay!
It is cool. I don't know. There's always things that,
being a United Empire Loyalist is a pretty big thing in this area of Canada. Anyways, there's we have our own road. It is.
True, yes.
The Loyalist Parkway.
But lists are good. I don't know. You always say, what is it? You get about 40% of it.
Yeah, we make a huge list, and then you anticipate you're going to get 40% of that list done. And I think that's actually pretty accurate for us. And we usually end up adding things that aren't on the list. So
that come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just come up because of necessity usually, or running out of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the sheep barn. That was a good one though.
Yeah.
Reprioritize.
Well, we just didn't work. We didn't work on the building we were planning. We did a different building instead, and it worked out good. So,
which was on the bigger list.
Yeah,
the 10-year plan.
Thanks for coming, Deborah.
Yes,
Definitely good to see you. Well, chat with you. You get to see us. But have a great night. Thank you for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
Do you know what museum is?
Yes, it's the Hurd Museum. Hurd, that's my maiden name, and it is in Woodbury, Connecticut, and it was the original house of, I think it was Stephen Hurd. Anyways, and it's a big red house with another building on the side. They were blacksmiths. I could be getting that wrong. I really want to go, though. It's on my to-do list, especially now that I live out here instead of Manitoba. It's actually not that far. What is it? Like 8? I don't know. Is it 8 hours to Connecticut? Maybe not even.
I don't know. It's not that
7
bad,
hours, maybe.
Things.
We're right near the border to cross over into New York and Watertown, so it's probably not that bad.
See, they herds around there in Rhode Island as well.
Oh, cool!
Very cool.
Yeah, we've got the family kind of split, and some came to Canada and some stayed. But they originally came from England into Boston, and then just kind of worked their way here. So it's cool. There's always neat stuff with family history, I think. Mm-hmm. So, and when you go back and you kind of go to some of these places, I took you to the one house.
I think that's history in general, though, right? Because you can learn a lot from the past.
Mm. Oh yeah. Well, we often say, like, our farm, for example, we're trying to somewhat model it after those old English farms.
Yeah, it's kind of that mix.
We have a lot of small buildings, a lot of small pens, a lot of diversity. We keep our animals all separate, and then you've got your bigger pasture fields and a real kind of close-knit barnyard. If I could have a whole bunch of stone, I'd build those nice stone fences, but I don't.
Yeah, we don't have.
It would look really pretty, though.
But we don't have that much stone.
No, we don't. But yes, it would be quite nice. History is awesome. I was obsessed. I still love it, but I was obsessed with castles and medieval history when I was in from 17, 18 through university. I loved studying art history and all that. And when I went to England, that's all I wanted to do was go visit castles and see how ruins fascinate me. And we have some ruins in Canada, but it's not the same. And I would often do, we'd go across into New York, is it upstate New York? Is that what that is? And we would just drive around and look at, there's a lot of old derelict places and homes and that. And I still call them ruins because they have a history behind them, and all you want to do is just find out, how did this beautiful house end up in this state? What happened? And we have that here too. I mean, especially everywhere. The old barns and things like that. I mean, we don't have the old ancient history like in Europe and England and that sort of thing.
That type of history,
type of history. But, I mean, for us, something that's 250 years old is considered ancient. And in England, that's not even preserved. But anyways, that's my going off on...
so how are the horses? One of them's fat.
One of them is fat.
All he does is eat.
The other one, Nikki, who is colicked, she has good days and bad days. She
had a bit of a bad morning.
She had a bit of a bad morning, and then she seemed to bounce back out of it. She's having a real hard time with the ice. She seems like she needs to not constantly, but she exercises herself. We often say that's something about when she colicked, we were out and we were walking her. That's what they say to do. That gets the guts moving and everything else. And she seems, the more we watch her, we notice that she seems to do it herself. So we think it's probably been an ongoing problem. We've talked to the vet about that, and we've gotten some advice. And we're going to see, being that she's 25, there could be so many factors in what is causing it. But she has her good days and she has her bad days. And I have bought Butte, which is basically Advil for horses. On the bad days, I can give her that and she gets a little bit more comfortable. So we're hoping that come summertime, she'll find it easier going without the ice and snow and whatnot. And she gets out on pasture where she can just be comfortable and graze.
But we'll see, because like you say, she is getting up there. So.
She is getting up there. But we are hoping that, it sounds really morbid to say, but hopefully she lives out her days comfortably and happy. We're just keeping an eye on her and a real close eye. It's terrible. It's like constantly at the window seeing how the horse is doing. No, she seems
a little more predictable now than what it was.
Yes. Well, and she still does a run over for treats and things like that. She loves her treats and everything. So, but we'll probably do a little update video on it once the weather's a little bit nicer. Then, like I say, they're out in the pasture now, but it's still all snow. But they're quite comfortable out there. So
yeah, we moved them to one that wasn't as icy today.
Yeah, she seemed a lot better once she got off the ice. Up by the barnyard where they've been packing it down all winter is just a skating rink. The cows weren't having much trouble, but you still have to be careful with the cows, because if they come out and splay, it's not pretty.
No.
So we may be keeping them in until the ice actually melts off.
Hopefully it goes quick, because this is, again, going back to the original discussion about weather. I think it was, we were watching, I don't think he's in here anymore, but Come On's live earlier tonight, and he was talking about finding somewhere that has nice seasons. And we have seasons, there's no question about that. But like when we get snow, it's not nice snow, because it's still, even if it doesn't do the complete freeze thaw, like, right thaw out, it still thaws out enough that it just kind of turns to ice everywhere, which is not fantastic. And it doesn't seem to matter. It's another thing about things having to be really hardy, because that just seems to be the reality of it. As opposed to, like, it would be great to have more of like that nice powdery snow that it's maybe a bit colder, but it kind of stays that nice powder that you can move around in. But
that's cool. Sorry, I'm going back to Cliffside's comment about her family and the cow farmers, politicians, and all being from Pittsburgh area. That's really cool. I love being able to track history. I mean, it's like what Hitchcock was saying about the old cemeteries. That was something I loved doing, was going in and actually, I don't know if it's the same in the States. I think it is. You can go into they have a building at each cemetery, and it has the records and the books from, who's buried there, and sometimes a little bit of their family history and stuff. And that was really neat to go in and look at that sort of stuff and get information. And I mean, sometimes it's also sad going around the old cemeteries, because there were so many ruined headstones and things like that people forgotten. And that is something that, well, we've often talked about that kind of thing, is to, when you're gone, you know, do you want a headstone that someone's got to look after?
How is this
Anyway,
for
I know.
changing
Woo,
topics?
yeah. Sorry, we're going down the line of history and cemeteries and whatever. But anyways, total off the rampage there.
That's all right. But yeah,
Tiffany, sorry. I hope you're still in here. If not, thank you so much for coming in, and glad that you popped in. We'll hopefully see you next week. And I am looking forward to definitely trying this trading on the Buy Nothing. So thank you for that little tip.
Yeah, the cows are I don't know, they're pretty good. Like it's repetition with them, right? Like doing the same thing kind of all the time, and they get used to what you're doing. But you've done a lot. You've done more of it than I have because I don't know. They kind of started out liking you better.
Which, the cows?
The cows, yeah.
Oh, I love the cows. The cows. It's a great thing. Yeah. I treat them like horses. It's probably maybe not advisable. I don't know, but
so a lot of things, it's not that much of a difference.
No.
I shouldn't say it is a big difference, but you know, they still get used to certain things, and it's a part that I always find funny about cattle because people have. And I'm definitely not opposed to eating animals and this, that, and whatever. But like, so many people justify, oh, I can eat a cow because it's just a big dumb cow, and it's like, have you ever been around a cow? They're not that much different from every other animal. They have their own little quirks and quirks, but they remember things. It's all the same. It's just, it's funny how people can justify that.
Oh, I think our cows are definitely pets, and to the point that I'd like to be able to lead them around and do all that sort of stuff with them.
Talking about history in the past, when you had like the house cow or whatever, it basically was a pet.
Yeah,
right? A pet that gave you something back in return. A useful pet.
Sorry, I'm going back. You've skipped ahead, but so Cliffside, yes, 25. That's a pretty good age for a horse, especially a horse that's not. They've been she's had a bit of a rough life and she's had some bad issues.
Not while we've
had her, but prior to, she had injuries. So really, I mean,
eventually it's kind of one of those
27 is probably 27 would be old for a horse.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a few breeds. There's a few breeds that they go to like 32.
Yeah, Arabians and a few of the maybe even like the ponier type ones go to 30.
I was going to say some of the ponies are smaller. It's kind of it's. I'm going to say this. It's a little bit like dog breeds, right? Where some will live longer than others. But horses have similar things. Most livestock have similar things. Some breeds will live a lot longer than others.
And also going back to Cliffside and Hitchachicks talk about the cemeteries. There is no way I'm going in a cemetery in the dark. No way. Absolutely not. No way. So do you have a pen?
Don't right at the moment.
I need to write down this paste that Bettina's talking about.
Give me 1 second. I will return.
Thank you for the tip, Bettina, on the Banamine paste. I wonder if I probably have to get that from the vet, I would imagine. Because a butte you have to get from the vet too. But she's saying it works better than. So I'm going to write that down.
Hopefully this one works.
I'm sure it'll be just fine. Thank you. See, this is what happens. I get going back through thing.
Well, this is so we haven't really got into it, but this is the problem too with, like you say, the bull. Somebody has to have a bull, and historically, you would have had cattle breeds. Like if you go to mainland Europe, right? A lot of regions have the same breed because everybody in that area had the same thing. So you didn't need everybody to have their own bull, and it works the same for sheep and all sorts of other things too, right? But that's not the way the modern world works because people and animals can travel huge distances. So you end up, this kind of goes down the line of the sustainability side of things. It's like, I'm switching to chickens for a moment, but it's like why we have so many chickens, because to keep it going, and we're lucky because we know a few people that have the same kind of chicken, so you've kind of got a bigger population you can feed from. But we still have to keep so many just to keep it going, which is not the way they would have done things in the past, right? Because everybody would have had chickens.
Well,
cows,
that's
whatever,
why you had animals like your cows or even your pigs. They were Berkshire
specific.
pigs, or so they were very, and that just isn't the way it is anymore.
Well, and it's like your pig one's a great one. You only need one sow, and she'll produce X amount of
Your cat is
X amount of piglets. And
What are you doing,
if 20 people have 20 sows and one person has the boar in a given area, like, I don't know, it's kind of like the population dynamics with livestock too, because that's a part that I think a lot of people on the homestead scale don't think about. But it's no different than a wild population. It's all a numbers game, right? So I'm kind of getting, that's a big, big topic. We should just do a live at some point where we just talk about that, because there's, yeah, a lot of stuff about breeds and heritage breeds and all that, bad cats, all that kind of.
Anyways, they're off there now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
If you notice, we've got plants that we're getting ready to hang up because we can't keep the cats out of them.
Yeah, they keep jumping on our sweet potato shelf, and oh gosh. So, anyways, we're trying to figure out a new system, but
yeah, we're coming up with that.
What's that?
The new system.
Oh yes, new system. Sorry, I thought you meant the bull. Yeah, that's not a fun story.
No.
This is our biggest thing about the bull. Like, this is where we are with our rams. I mean, they're an animal that, again, you've got to be so careful with. And
well, it's like the conversation last week that we were talking about the rams. The ram can still hurt you, even if they don't have horns. They can still hurt you if they, and they're a lot smaller than a bull. But it's kind of that thing of when you have a big herd of cattle, and you have a bull, he has to be big and mature to get around to everybody. But when you only have a few, he doesn't necessarily have to be that old. That's the polite way to put it. So our thing, what we would really like to do, which might not be super feasible, but it'd be nice for us to run through the bulls quicker so that you don't have them for a long period of time.
Yeah. Then, and if you
which sounds really bad in one sense, but it's actually also really beneficial for a really rare breed to.
Well, it rotates your genetics very quickly. And this comes down to, I'm going to go to Indiana backyards, one under MBs there quickly before going back up. But with our breed of cattle, you can't order sperm yet.
It's basically the way, because there's quite a few laws around it.
They're too rare and don't have an association,
they don't
registry.
Basically there's quite a few laws around the use of that stuff and who can use it and how they can use it.
And hi to MB, sorry.
So it's kind of one of those things too. That's not just, it's not an easy thing to just say to heck with the laws and not follow it, because of course there's all the handling and So basically, like in Canada, they have the pedigree laws. The pedigree laws prevent some of that stuff from happening if you don't follow the Pedigree Act. So no matter what you do, you can't really get away from the regulation unless you can keep enough of them that you can have a population that doesn't need it, and then you bulls. Yeah. So he's 50% of your herd, or really any livestock. The male is 50% of your flock, herd, whatever.
And Bettina, 29. That's not bad for a thoroughbred. Too bad about the son there, but. Well, we kind of wonder with Nikki if she may have
something else going on,
cysts or it's just strange behavior. Yet she seems like I say, some days she'll go out and she'll run around and rear up and be just fine. So it just seems to be hit and miss.
It's interesting to learn some of the old ways of doing things, because I find. It's like everything, because we talk about this with chickens. It's like, who grows all their chickens under broody hens anymore? Nobody. Or very few people, or you don't hear about them. But and it's like, that's all we do.
Yeah.
It's just funny little things like that, right? That's how it used to be done, and now people don't do it that way. And there's valid reasons why they don't too, but. I don't think we would be doing any injectable stuff.
No, but
taste would
I'll
more sense.
Next time, because I'll end up having to sort it out. So I'll just see what the vet says if they've got it.
Well, this is the thing. We are basically eventually going to become a breeder of them. Because what did I say it was? There was 84 of them in the world. 84.
84 of our cows.
Yeah, that included cows, bulls,
And
not steers, but and young
heifers.
Young heifers. So there's not that many of them, but it's.
I think there is only. Is there not only 7 bulls?
I don't know, because the one that's coming here would be part of.
Anyway,
he's young, right?
It's basically with our cows. They were a breed that almost disappeared, and a local man kept them going. And we do want to do a video on this. We keep saying we want to do a video on this, and we should, because it is a very impressive story. One man's family kept this breed going for 50 years on their own. Yeah. Now, they had an abattoir, and they just raised cattle.
And that's the really fascinating part about it, because this is one farm keeping them, and because they had a very, very rigorous culling program. Well, you've seen the videos. They're really fit cows.
Yes.
So
they're very
it's one of those funny things when people talk about like inbreeding depression and stuff. And I'm going to go on a rant for a moment, because when I used to raise the Tamworth pigs, around the time that I got out of raising them, and that was because I couldn't afford it, put it very bluntly, there was some talk going around that all the old breeds of pigs were doomed because their population sizes were so small that there really wasn't any merit in trying to keep them. So they were, mathematically, from a genetic standpoint, they were doomed anyway. So why bother? And that kind of stuck, because people just were like, oh, well, if it's not going to work anyways, I'm not going to try. On the flip side, you have a cow, which reproduces very slow compared to a pig, because pigs have litters, cows have singles, right? So it's the numbers game. And I'm going to get really whatever here for a moment on my rant. So if anybody doesn't want to hear this, just say, and I can stop. But I can speak from some of my background in like wildlife biology, that you can have a population of very, very small population of very rare animals. And if you have the right conditions for individuals to have places to continue to reproduce, etc., and you have this whatever selection, like in a wild population, you have all those selection pressures, you can still come back from a very small population. Now, are you genetically bottlenecked? Yes, because essentially, if your population size only starts with 10 individuals, I'm just picking a random number, 10 individuals, then yeah, you only have the genes that those 10 individuals have had, but that doesn't mean that you can't have something come back from such a small population size. And it seems like in rare breed conservation, there's almost the reverse in more recent years. Because, like I say, to have some statements like that come out of it, oh, well, all the heritage pigs are basically doomed because their population sizes are too small. It's not that. It's that nobody's raising them. So if you don't have the place to raise them, to have the numbers, to have the selection, they're doomed, because whatever you have left, there's no culling being on, there's no selection going on. Anyways, that's getting into more advanced stuff, and I'm probably losing people, but
that's your rant. Okay.
Yeah.
But long story short, there's very few of them, and there is no program yet to breed them. And unfortunately for us, the gentleman who had the herd here dispersed the herd, and then the herds all moved to Southern Ontario, because we got our cows from Hamilton. And majority of the animals have gone that way. There's a couple down the road that have one old one, an old heifer. 10, well. And then we know the gentleman who originally had them still has one heifer, probably his favorite one that he hung on to, I'm sure. So it definitely is going to be an interesting process. But the nice thing for us is, with this program with the cows, because they're trying to get the breed back going, it's a share. You don't have to buy the bull. You're just moving. The bulls move around. You provide bulls into the system, and they move around.
She's not an old heifer. She's a cow.
Okay. Whatever. Cow. There we go. Old cow.
Yeah. The only difference, I think, if I'm reading your comment right, Cliffside, about what we were talking, what's that, a couple weeks ago about the mulberries, I wasn't necessarily suggesting that it wasn't worth saving the rare, like the red mulberry. It's just you have the same dilemma if the habitat isn't there, and well, there's a social side to that too, right? Because of the fact that the non-native ones were brought in, and then you have it's a little different in some ways than some of the livestock because it's very hard to control the cross-pollination. It just makes it very, very difficult. It's not necessarily that it's not worth trying, but it's kind of like a lot of the plants that have become naturalized here too. It would be very, very, very difficult to remove them from ecosystems, and a lot of the ecosystems are so impaired. This is kind of a different thing too, but they're already so impaired, like, I hate to say it, in some ways the damage has been done, but it doesn't mean that it's worth giving up on all of that stuff either, I guess. And it's the exact same with whether it's domestic vegetables, rare plants, rare livestock. Is it worth giving up on it? Probably not, because there is value. There still is a lot of value there. Just the mulberry one is really difficult. Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I don't know if I did a great job of explaining what I had read about, but that was kind of exactly it, is you kind of have this, you've got two species that have diverged, but then are still close enough that they could cross to, hypothetically over time, they could fill a very similar niche, but it's not ever the same. And the big difference between, this is again going off in a rant, and then I'll stop after this. The big difference there is, like, that does happen in nature too. There's a bird that lives here, two species, the golden winged and the blue winged warbler, same genus. They have slightly different habitat niches that they prefer. For a variety of factors, the one species has become a lot rarer in recent times, and they now naturally hybridize with each other, produce viable offspring. There is definitely a human component to this, but it's not completely fueled by a human component. So this sort of stuff does happen in nature, because like the mulberry thing, the only difference is we did physically bring the white mulberry over, but otherwise it's a very similar process to what could happen. I'm going to say on its own, if the species ever had met, which is a not likely thing in a human lifespan. But anyways,
native mulberry are edible. I've seen somebody do. Isn't that the mulberry leaves that they do the wrapped, like use them like cabbage rolls, but they're wrapped mulberry leaf?
I think you can, yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I think that's that same thing. If you could fit, well,
you're kind of, because it's like the chestnuts.
Well, and see, that's actually something here, because we ordered the red mulberry seeds, and we're in an area that the white mulberry isn't really present. It's in Ontario, and if you go to like the Toronto area and southwestern Ontario, it's everywhere, which of course is the native range in Ontario of the red mulberry. So yeah, it's grape leaves are the same thing. You can use.
Thanks very much for coming in, Joe and Sue. Good to see you guys.
Yeah,
we'll catch up next week. Hope you get some planting. Hope your sweet potatoes do well.
But yeah, I think it's kind of like the grape leaves.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people use mulberry leaves to do the same thing with what they do with the grape leaves.
There's a few other plants you can do it with. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but yeah,
be interesting to try though.
Yeah,
we should try with the grape leaves too. We have tons of wild grapes, so should try eating some of the grape. We got to get better at our foraging.
Yeah, we didn't focus on it too much last year just because we were doing a lot of other stuff, but definitely lots of potential there.
Well, it would be nice to. Nice to kind of make the most of what we've got. I shouldn't say we foraged a lot of berries off of our property for sure.
Well, and the grapes. And the apples.
Yeah, and the apples kind of were. But
yeah.
Hey, Frank and Tina, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, the basswood. you can do it with too, which is
Okay.
interesting. We have a few of that on the property. I'm trying to
They're
think
the ones that really
the
big.
big round ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to try that because I think I've eaten them when they're young and raw. I'm trying to think. I've eaten a lot of stuff that way, but just to try it.
Yeah. But no, be kind of cool. We're going to learn lots this year about what we can eat off of our property, that sort of thing, because that was something we were talking about just the other day, wasn't it? About trying to get a few more
things that we can use that way.
Yeah. But
oh, well, anyways, this has been a good conversation. Oh, we're good, Frank and Tina. I don't know. We're winding down, unfortunately.
But that's okay.
So it's only Tuesday, and it feels a little bit like it should be Thursday.
Friday. Oh,
yeah.
I was going big.
Going big should be the weekend.
Yeah. It'd be be nice to have a little bit more of spring here, though.
Oh, it's coming though.
I know.
But we watch videos from people a little further to the south of us, and we're not there yet.
No, we still got a ways to go as we're watching people turning their gardens over and planting stuff. And oh my goodness, I wish. But
yeah, that's something actually that basswood is really good for because it'll grow to be a monster tree. But if you can do the coppice or the pollard stuff, and you can keep it growing the young stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is pretty nice.
Oh, it has been very good live chat.
Yes.
We've kind of covered a real broad range of topics.
Yeah.
From cemetery walks to horse Advil to plants to boy, oh boy, we like to cover it all. Yes, soon the end is near. Yes. And Frank and Tina have had a long Tuesday as well. I don't know why everybody talks about Wednesday being the hump day, but for some reason for me, Tuesday always seems longer because Wednesday I'm already thinking, oh, it's almost Friday.
Well, Wednesday you've actually gotten through. By the time you get to Wednesday
I guess,
night,
that's why, yeah. All it takes. Yeah.
Well, when's the actual sort of official first day of spring?
It's the 21st.
21st, yeah.
Which is next Sunday. I think it's 21st or is it 20th? Anyway. Yes.
It's probably 21st.
All it takes is one comment, Indiana Gardner, and then it all goes off. But that's okay. That's what the one thing that I do think is interesting because we go into other people's lives and stuff. It's when things go off the rails that you really learn about people, and I think that's so interesting.
Yeah,
I really do. I love watching people's videos as well, but they
don't go off the rails.
Well, no, but you've got a train of thought, and then you just kind of go with it, and it goes to something you certainly didn't think you were going to be talking about. But anyways, it's great because you really learn about people and get to know them, and I think that's what that's the part I like about YouTube. It's a great way to get to know people and stuff.
So I always find. I'll be honest, the day that I was pretty productive today in my actual job, but the day I always find I'm most productive is Fridays. I don't know whether that's because I've got that anxiety of like, oh, the weekend's coming and I still haven't gotten everything I was hoping to get done or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. The rest of the week is just damage control.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that today. But
the dumbest questions come on Tuesday. That is funny.
I had a lot of questions today. Most of them were actually not too bad, but they were really, really targeted questions. You get to hear all the questions I get.
Yes, with him working at home now, it's quite interesting. But Frank and Tina live off the rails. Well, that's true.
I think some people would probably say we do too, but
yeah, people don't really get it, so probably.
Yeah, it's funny
why we do what we do and
the diversity of stuff we do, and
yeah.
People are like, "Oh, you can only do so much," and it's like, yeah, but it takes X amount to feed yourself.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, and you got to keep trying new things. That's the big thing.
Well, there's always some new experiment.
Yeah.
This is our new one. What's
it's a shamrock.
Well, it's the false shamrock, Oxalis triangulum, I think it is. Anyways, I knew it was edible, and then forgot it was edible, and then our cats kind of trashed it, and so in
And
the
so
process
we
of,
made this big drastic decision of let's get rid of all houseplants that are not edible
but that
because the
was the
cats
one.
were ruining
But
it.
that was the one I was going to keep regardless because it's in a small pot and it was easy to hang. So
And
the
it's
cat can't get at
had
it.
a real, it's been destroyed before and come back. So that was the plan. And then he came into the room and started eating it, and it actually is really good.
Yeah. Well, it's basically it's in the wood sorrel family. So it's a house plant that you can actually eat.
Now he wants to propagate lots of them.
Well, I don't want lots, but it's a great thing in the middle of the winter, right?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
It does have the one caution I read about it is it has like the oxalic acid. So if you eat a huge quantity of it, it might not be good for you. But
Yeah.
I don't think you would eat that much. But it's another one of those things. It's like, who knew this common little houseplant that has the interesting behavior of.
And this is the
holding up
time of
its-
year that they sell them because they're coming up to St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and
That's when I
was
got it. It
also
was St.
a
Patrick's Day.
edible herb, basically, that you can easily grow in your house.
Yeah. So
But,
we're going to be growing sweet potatoes and shamrocks.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to grow, apparently.
Yeah, what was it? It was Homestead Aquarius. In some comment somewhere, he made a comment either to one of our videos or
it was on one of
back
his
to
or
one
something.
It's one that we made to one of his. Don't remember exactly, but that in his mind he thinks more people should grow sweet potatoes as a houseplant. And because we want, what did you figure out the other day?
75 slips.
Yeah, we want at least 75 sweet potato slips to start this year to go outside. And so I was just like, well, and of course they're edible too. So I'm like, well, why don't we just grow them as house plants? Because we have a couple other plants. We have a big spider plant, and they're fine, but the cats keep killing everything. So if we're going to the effort to hang them up where they can't get at them, they might as well be things that
we can eat. So that's the new game plan.
That's the plan. So maybe by this time next week,
I think we should do a video on the shamrock.
I think so too. I'd like to figure out. I know it's got a tuber in there, so I don't know. It's kind of a little rough. I don't know if I'm worth digging it out now and sort of trying to split it, or I'm not really sure. Yeah, sweet potatoes and shamrocks.
That shall be the title of our video. Sweet potatoes and shamrocks.
They're everywhere.
The new indoor houseplants. On that note, we should probably get to closing here.
Yeah, I think we'll. It's 10 o'clock. I think we'll probably head out. And definitely glad that everybody stopped in.
Yeah, it's been great to see everybody and catch up. And we will be here again next week with some more updates and hopefully some exciting stories. Who knows?
Well, maybe we'll start picking some topics or something.
We just kind of roll with it. That's like we just established. We don't need rails. We just roll with it and see what happens.
We're entertaining enough.
Maybe we should do a show and tell every time. That'll be our thing. Show and tell and then just chat. I don't know. Anyways, we'll come with something. But I hope everybody has a great evening, and thank you so much for chatting with us. It has been so nice to catch up with everybody and see how their week has been. And same time, same place next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to everybody later.
We'll catch up with everybody throughout from videos and such. But have a good night, everyone.